Imagine you're a left-wing channel supposedly, and your biggest content, your biggest video, your biggest stamp on the world is you promoted a conspiracy theorist nutball Nazi who thinks Donald Trump is the Messiah. Anyways, let's see how bad this is.
So this video right here is fascinating and crazy. Shout out to this guy, Professor Zhang. Now,
Why? You didn't look it up. Do you know anything about this guy? Why shout out to Professor Zhang? The Iranians have... Listen to this sentence. The Iranians have announced total war, which means command and control are decentralized. That doesn't mean anything. What do you mean command? What are these terms, command and control? What is command and control? He's talking about them like they're substances. Like, look, guys, we had a bucket of command here, and we spilled it. It's all over the place now. Like, what? What does that mean?
Now, by the way, he was just on Breaking Points the other day, and I think it might be their biggest video ever. This interview blew the fuck up.
I know. Imagine you're a left-wing channel supposedly, and your biggest content, your biggest video, your biggest stamp on the world is you promoted a conspiracy theorist nutball Nazi who thinks Donald Trump is the Messiah. Just imagine that. Speaking of Sunday was vindicated on Pisco. Pisco talked to Michael Tracy and not along the crazy shit. Pisco's a moron. Pisco's an idiot. But of course I'm right about Pisco. Pisco was the easiest call of my career, quote unquote.
And basically he describes in the interview how, the U.S. is going to lose the war in Iran. I mean, we lost the war in Iraq, so we're going to lose the war in Iran too. And he describes why
Total war literally is impossible without command and control being centralized. The entire premise is that you are deploying the entirety of a state, which is defined by centralized control and identity, to a war effort. It's what it means. It actually definitionally means the opposite of what Zhang is saying here.
That is in that video, so definitely go check it out. I think it's over like 3 million views already. It's insane how much that thing is popping off. But this guy, a lot more people are listening to what this guy has to say now. Let me start with this here. He does this thing, predictive history, and he talks about how the U.S. has already colossally fucked up in a way that nobody is talking about.
The Iranians see this as a religious war.
No, they don't see it as a religious war. What are you talking about? Why would that be a religious war? The United States is not attacking Iran on the basis of religion. The United States is attacking Iran on the basis of its alliance with Israel, which is paying a tremendous amount of money to make U.S. politicians do its bidding. They know this. They have said as much. Literally in the media, they have said this. They have made appeals to Americans specifically that, hey, this is not in your interest to do, specifically because they recognize this is not a religious war. Predictive history, he thinks he's a psychohistorian. Yeah, just so people know, predictive history, the reason why he calls his channel Predictive History is because he really likes Isaac Asimov. So he thinks that he's doing like psychohistory from the Foundation series, where they mathematically predict the future. That's not what he does. This guy rambles. He reads Reddit posts, doesn't understand them, and rambles to nobody.
So the Iranians have announced total war. Okay? And
look at this Muppet's facial expressions. Not this guy down here. Listen to this. Look at
so what this means is that right now command and control in Iran is decentralized.
Oh, yes,
There's no
one
person telling them what to do. Every region has its own orders, has its own strategy.
Brilliant.
And so if you knock out Iran...
That's not how that works, by the way. That's not how that frickin' works, by the way. Because Zhang's an idiot. So just to be clear, no, different regions do not have their own strategies. In a war, there's the operational scale of conflict, there's a strategic scale of conflict. Strategy has to do with the purposes of conflicts for the purpose of the war, right? The purpose of engagements, like the ultimate end of engagements to the war effort. At the operational level, you have to deal with local exigencies. You have to deal with the actual fighting, the actual maneuvering of material, like the actual logistics at a level that the center can't like monitor correctly because they aren't there literally. They can more than ever in world history, by the way, because everybody's got cell phones now and other devices. But like, and we have other technology of communication as well when those aren't available. But no, the different regions don't have their own strategies at all. Now, what's interesting, though, is that he puts his finger on something which is potentially accurate if he wasn't so dumb, which is this. Israel's strategy absolutely is to try and encourage parts of Iran on the fringes to break off and to bring in other militants so that Iran's attentions are divided while they are fighting Israel and the United States. So the way Iran fights is essentially it's made up of like little sub-regions that have semi-autonomy, but that's not the result of the attack. That is strategy. That is strategy. The unified strategy is that, thank you, Brooks. Actually, Brooks pointed out in the chat. Iran's strategy is that there is essentially like a checker pattern, like it's actually called Mosaic. It is called Mosaic defense, isn't it? It's a Mosaic defense where it's like it is prepared to, the different regions are prepared to fight with semi-autonomy under conditions of invasion, specifically so that united strategy can survive an engagement that would knock out the center. Does that make sense? So no, that's not a mistake. That's just what Iran does when it gets attacked by a vastly more powerful enemy like the United States, which it has been preparing to do for a very long time. Yeah, exactly, Brooks. It's decentralized, but to a centrality. Exactly. I wouldn't phrase it that way. I would say it's like it's a centralized strategy of decentralization. It's actually really smart. It's really smart. It actually takes a lot of principles that you will find from seeing like a state, that you will find from people like Friedrich Hayek, that you will find from people like across the board, people who understand that system resiliency depends on decentralization to a point, but it's to the end of the maintenance of the centrality, right? And it's like a principle that goes back to Clausewitz, right? Your plans don't survive engagement with the enemy, so your plans have to include in their considerations what happens when your forces divide and lose contact with each other after the engagement, because stuff happens. Stuff happens you can't predict, including, by the way, the physics of forces colliding. Yeah, exactly. From Iran, provincial and sector commands can keep fighting with general instructions given in advance, rather than waiting for real-time direction from top political leadership. You all know about this already, though, because that's how nuclear weapons work. When there is an exchange of nuclear fire, the submarine commanders have a little compartment that has instructions. The instructions are not given at the beginning of the war. They are given years prior sometimes. It's like, look at this doofus in the corner. He's like, yes, I see. Read a goddamn news article. This is all over the place.
Everyone else keeps on going. So if you take off the head, it doesn't change anything.
Right?
Okay? But unfortunately...
Well, it does change stuff, though, actually, quite a bit. The point is not that it doesn't change anything. It changes a lot. The point is that Iran still has a contingency in place for if the head is gone. That's the point.
The Israelis and Americans use this as a military doctrine. Military doctrine just means how you design your military for what purpose. And so even though the Americans seem like an invincible army, they are not equipped to fight a 21st century war.
Yeah, they are. What are you talking about?
Against drones, against desalinization, against religious fanatics.
Against desalinization? What? Are they taking their salt?
So understand what he's saying there. Yes, we have the most money. Yes, we have the biggest guns. Yes, we have the best interceptors. Yes, we...
No, they are 100% equipped to annihilate Iran at a nod. The problem is that they're being run by morons who don't know how to do that. The problem is that the war is being prosecuted by a rogue executive branch that has zero respect for the gravity of what it's doing and for the nature of the enemy. Like, what? First of all, you don't have a basis for saying what the United States is capable of doing. We don't know what the United States is capable of doing. All we know is that they have more tonnage in the water than every other country combined. All we know is that they have military weapons that literally nothing can compete with, to the point where their jets are falling out of the sky from friendly fire because of incompetent coordination at the top.
Spend a tremendous amount of money on the military-industrial complex and developing the new technology of the day, but we are not equipped.
Yeah, I know they're running out of interceptors
For modern warfare. We're not equipped. And he explains why further.
We're not equipped for... What does that mean, we're not equipped for modern warfare?
Also, the decentralization point is fascinating.
But it is, but you don't understand it.
That, like, when the Grand Ayatollah got killed, they, changed the structure where it's like, each commander controls their own...
No, they didn't. No, that was already the case before the Ayatollah got killed. And Kyle, I think you're a bit of a dum-dum, because you should be able to figure this out from the words you are saying. After the Ayatollah got killed, they changed the structure. Kyle, that's centralized command. They changed the structure. Did they take a vote? No. They already had in place a program for what happens if the Ayatollah gets killed. That wasn't a surprise. He was 86 years old. He could have died of a stroke tomorrow. And guess who's in power now? His frickin' kid.
Unit, and they're dispersed throughout the country. So you can't, like...
He, in all seriousness, thinks that amidst the Ayatollah being executed by the United States by surprise, he legitimately thinks that they instantaneously magicked into existence a decentralized system of autonomous operational level like control across the entire region. What? Like, this is actually like this is astonishingly dumb. This is astonishingly dumb. Like, were you born yesterday? Oh my God.
Make a deal to stop the fighting, because you make a deal with who? There is nobody at the top that, like, they say something and it goes all the way down. And so...
But there is, though. There is, though, Kai. I'm sorry, like, does he think that Iran just had a king? Did he think that the Ayatollah was just, like, flying around in his helicopter just telling people what to do?
The U.S. and Israel fucked up. The axis of Epstein fucked up.
How?
Right? Like, Trump said, oh, if I hit him, then I think they'll come back to the table and we'll get a better deal. And it's like, what?
Yeah, they don't care about the outcome. This is not about any strategic goal on Trump's part.
Well, how'd that work out for you? Now, he's running around like a chicken with his head cut off. He's panicking. The U.S. was asking for a ceasefire after they got the Ayatollah because we are running out of interceptors. And they were basically like, no. And like Professor Zhang says here, even if...
Yeah, this is not going to age well, doofus. This is embarrassing for these people. But here's the problem. Having been proved wrong eventually, and once it comes out, and maybe it'll be our video that does it, who knows? Once it comes out that they're taking their geopolitical information from a demented neo-Nazi who thinks Trump is Jesus, they're not going to retract, they're not going to correct, they're not going to say sorry. They're going to go on as usual, and they are going to purge people from their communities who call them out for this. That is what will happen. Kyle is usually not that gullible, no. Everybody is always usually that gullible. Sometimes people just show you how dumb they've been for a very long time. Sometimes people are good at masking their stupidity. Sometimes we just don't pay enough attention. This person isn't. This is a dumb man. This is a very dumb man that is on the screen right now.
If one of them said yes, it doesn't matter. That it's decentralized now.
But unfortunately, because of military doctrine, they're going to keep on attacking Tehran. Now, the great irony of all this is that the Iranians who will be most supportive of regime change, are actually in the cities, because they are educated, they're progressive. The people who are most fundamentally against you, will fight you to the death, are religious fanatics, the Shia militants, living in the rural areas.
What? Jang, it's in Iran.
Okay? So this
is Iran. It's a Shia republic. It's a Shia regime. What do you mean they're only in the fringes? What?
Silly thing where you are actually destroying those who will most likely support you, and you're leaving alone those who are most likely to commit jihad against you.
That's devastating. He's saying we're carpet bombing and destroying Tehran.
What? I'm sorry, that's devastating. Why? Did he show any proof of this? Where's he getting this from? Where's he getting this from? The lowest numbers that I have seen, and it's been a while, to be fair, it's been like 10 years. The lowest numbers I have seen. Now, it has been 10 years. This is more recent than that. I feel like it feels like 10 years. The lowest numbers I have seen for the percentage of the population that is Shia is like 60%. The lowest reasonable numbers. I think the Iranian regime says like it's almost like it's something crazy, like 97%, something wild. I'd have to look it up. And there are things you need to consider here when you're thinking about these statistics. The Iranian regime very much wants people in Iran and elsewhere to think that its population is unassailably ideologically coherent, right? There is no reason to try and proselytize to break up Iran from inside because they just won't have it. They're all bought and sold on the whole Shiite thing. And on the flip side, enemies of Iran want people to think, including people in Iran, that Iran is weak, because that encourages dissidence within Iran and it encourages foreign interference outside of Iran. And you see the same thing happen with Israel. People will talk about like the relative percentages of Israelis who support Israel's actions in Gaza and so on. You'll hear white nationalists talk about this in the context of silent majorities, right? And the thing is I would want to see what figures Jang is referring to, because I don't know how he's getting this data. I don't know what he's using. Like, what do you mean by Shia militants? Do you mean deployments of because like Iran isn't like Lebanon or Gaza or Yemen, where Iran is sending weapons and training to small insurgency groups. I guess it's not technically an insurgency in Yemen, but to insurgency groups. Iran is Iran. They can just pay militants. They can just pay soldiers. Like they aren't relying on like hillbillies, bluntly. It's a militarized modern state. Iran is not like a microcosm of the Middle East during the Arab Spring. That's not what Iran is.
Iran and killing all the people who theoretically more support the regime being changed, but all the people outside of Tehran who you're not bothering.
Like Iran right now is not under social unrest because people have an issue with the religiosity of the state leadership. Iran is in a state of extreme unrest right now because they're running out of water and the regime is corrupt. And because the police are brutal. in a similar fashion to why people were revolting in Iran under the Shah. Because life was miserable for a lot of people, and the police were brutal, and the regime was corrupt. By the way, somebody did something funny recently, and they trolled Reza Pahlavi, they trolled the Shah in a funny way. I'm gonna pop that video up next. We'll do that one next. Try again. If at first you don't succeed, try again. Come on, you can do it. Okay, let's go. This is worth a brief digression. So, this is the saddest video you will watch today. Russian pranksters trick Reza Pahlavi into believing they are representatives of German Chancellor Merz. Despite obvious flags, the unmistakable Russian accent, the representative's Hitler mustache, who also introduces himself as a man who wants Trump to install him as Shah in Iran cluelessly falls for it. But it gets worse. The German representative announces that Germany will start bombing Iran together with Israel and the US. This was days before the war started. And then elevated Pahlavi welcomes it and says that it is important the US and Israel are not isolated in conducting this crusade. Here, let's just watch this quickly.
You know, I had a discussion with Chancellor Merz today. And we discussed that we will talk to you. And his position now, he's open to join the game. So I need to assure you that Germany army is ready to launch military actions in Iran now. You know, we have Taurus missiles. So our intelligence is ready to start bombing Tehran.
Okay, well, the more we have as part of this coalition vis-à-vis the regime, the better, in fact. So it doesn't isolate just the Israelis and the Americans in this. That's certainly a welcome element for us to have more people joining in this crusade. And I'm glad if Germany is taking such a strong stance. I hope that others would follow suit.
Look at him. How do you... Just amazing. These are the people trying to control the world. It's hilarious. But yes, I digress. Kyle Kulinski, very dumb human. Very dumb human.
And not touching our more fundamentalist Shia militants who will fight you to the death and who are
Yeah, you're not going to verify any of this, dude? You have no idea where he's getting this info from.
Probably engaged in that fight.
Like, here's the thing, and you really need to, like, internalize this. These people, okay, and I mean these people broadly. I mean, like, Michael Brooks. I mean, like, all these people who run these channels. Even if they put on a good face some of the time. These people see a thing, they think, ooh, that looks good, and they just spread it. You and me, because this channel is watched by smart people, we hear something crazy and we go, ooh, I should look into this. And then your video is, I looked into this and there's something to this. Here's where I agree. Here's where I disagree. Kyle has no idea. But more importantly, he doesn't care that he has no idea. His immediate impulse is to make content out of it. Why? Because Breaking Point's got a lot of views for promoting a Nazi who thinks that Trump is the Messiah. No, Kyle is not good. Kyle is very bad. Not Michael Brooks. Not Michael Brooks. Jesus Christ. The other one. Michael Brooks. Michael Brooks would never. Who's, what's his name? Help. Brooks. That's what I did. I confused Brooks and Michael and I put Michael. Who's the Breaking Points guy? Breaking Points guy. God damn it. Not Michael Brooks. Michael Brooks would never have done this. Breaking Points. I can never do names. I can never do frickin' names. What is his name? Shoot. Ryan. It's Ryan. I'm thinking of Ryan. God damn it. Ryan Grimm. God fucking damn it. Grimm. Ryan Grimm. Sagar? I don't even know anything about Sagar. I was thinking of Ryan Grimm. Ryan Grimm's done some dumb stuff too recently.
And this is what I told you. They were bombing specific areas of Tehran where you had the most opposition leaders.
But I mean all of them. Like, do you think any of them's going to come out and say, like, hey, we platformed a Nazi. We gave you bubkiss information. We promoted someone who is actively misinforming viewers on our channel. We got 5 million views misinforming viewers, giving them bullshit information and promoting somebody who, again, thinks Trump is the literal messiah. Sagar is a fascist, like, kind of openly? Well, there you go. Ryan Grimm, Michael Brooks. Listen, all men look the same to me, okay? I don't know what to tell you.
Gets to the broader point, too, by the way, which is that might be on purpose. It might be on purpose because Israel wants Iran to be a failed state. They don't want it to be, they don't actually want regime change. They want no government whatsoever.
No, they don't. That's stupid, Kyle. No government whatsoever means you don't know what kind of state emerges in the wake of it. That could be an arm of China that ends up taking the place of Iran as a hegemon. That could be a bunch of states run by insurgencies that are hostile to you. What Israel absolutely wants is for a America or Israel friendly government to take power, so that they have more America in the Middle East. That's what they want.
Want balkanization. They want civil war. They want to take them off the map as a regional player so they can dominate the region and do their Greater Israel plan. Okay? But we're still not done here because he's got more to say. Here he's talking about the difference in weapons between the U.S.
The interceptors are cheaper than the drones. The interceptors are cheaper. The issue is not taxpayer money. The U.S. can afford the weapons to fight Iran. The problem, though, is that they take time to build. Someone ban that account. Go to bed, Felix. The problem is that they need to build them. So it's not just a matter of having money. Someone somewhere actually has to assemble these devices, and they're running out. Oh shit, did I say the interceptors are cheaper than the drones? Look, I'm tired, guys. I'm really fucking tired. Interceptors are millions of dollars. The point is not that they're running out of money. Sorry, that's where I was going. Why the fuck did I say the interceptors are cheap? The point... Look, I've been in and out of hospital all week, okay? Retract that. Reverse it. The point... Fuck me. They can afford it. They can't make them. They're not running out of money. They can't make them. They have all the money. Yes, that weird guy's a Trump freak. They have all the money. Iran doesn't have all the money. They don't have the capacity to keep making these endlessly. You want to get some sleep before tackling this? Yeah, maybe, honestly. Dog. Seriously. Give it a sec. Yeah, it's manufacturing capacity. Like, I'm sure, like, after, like, a decade or so, like, the cost would start to be a bit prohibitive. But, like, the issue here is not the missiles are expensive. The issue here is that the amount that they need... By weird guy, I mean Professor Jang. To be fair, I can understand why that would narrow it down. Should I try to move forward, or is that dog going to be really loud? Dog? Give it a sec. Give it a sec. It'll be okay. Here, we'll see if Felix immediately posted after I banned that account. That'll tell us everything. What a useless asshole.
U.S. and Iran, and how even in that realm they have a bit of an advantage over us.
Those nations that are poor actually have more energy. They're more open and they're more cohesive. All right, so let me give an example. This is what we call the Shahad drones. Shahad drones. Each of these drones costs $50,000 at most. Okay, at most. It can go as cheap as $35,000 US. But one of them is $50,000. As you can see, you can fit a lot of these drones to a truck that can go anywhere in Iran, and they can hide anywhere. All right. So the thing to understand is, first of all,
no, drones are more than 10,000 a piece. Like cheap drones are 10,000.
These drones are cheap. They're easy to make. They make about 500 a day. Okay. And estimates are about there's 80,000 right now that the Iranians have. So they can go on for a long, long time. Okay. And one of these drones, again, can knock out a desalination plant. It can knock out an oil field. It can knock out a hotel. It can do a lot of damage. Okay. And it's easily transportable. You can hide it anywhere. You can use it from anywhere, okay? And that's what the Iranians are using as an offensive weapon. And how do the Americans defend against this? They use something called a THAAD, right? Right, guys. This is what they use. THAAD. THAAD stands for Thermal High Altitude Air Defense. And they also have like Patriot systems. There's a lot, okay? The thing that you need to know about the system is it's really expensive. This missile, guys, costs $1 million.
Okay, $1 million is not very expensive for the U.S. Also, there's an additional factor here, which is their drones fly low and slow, which means that their missiles are less effective against them.
$1 million. So there's this $50,000 drone coming your way, and you throw a $1 million missile at it, okay? And often these missiles miss, so you have to throw
Fad.
2 or 3 missiles at it, okay? So you're spending $2 to $3 million on each $50,000 that the Iranians spend.
Yeah, the issue is not spending. The issue is not spending, Jang. The issue is that they ran out. They ran out. They aren't making them fast enough. I don't even know if that's the missile, because I don't think he's look. That hasn't been used against drones. What are they using? Oh. I mean, like, so Google is saying that they're using them, but it also may be the case that they're using shit they wouldn't normally use because they're running low. Let's see here. Oh my god. The link is... Okay, you want to see something terrifying? So this is Google, right? I was looking up THAAD missiles. Its sources are YouTube. That is terrifying. That is fucking terrifying.
That's kind of silly. Second thing you'll notice is that this thing is really big and really slow. And therefore, you can't really move it around. Therefore,
but you can, though. It's got wheels.
it's pretty easy for the Iranians to spot where this is and attack it.
Yeah, that's not been the issue.
And when these things blow up, that's a lot of money, guys.
Yeah, that's not... He's making it all about money. That's not the issue. The issue isn't money. The issue isn't money. They're putting hundreds of millions of dollars just randomly all over the place. The issue is not money.
Okay?
You can... No, those trucks can't move. They're heavy trucks. You see, that's how trucks work. If trucks are heavy, they can't move. You can't... No. The professor just told us, guys. Weren't you listening? You see those wheels? They're for show. They're just... You can't move them around. How did they get there, Chang? How did they get there? You see, the United States' biggest strategic weakness right now is that their aircraft carriers are just too heavy. They just can't move around. They're too heavy, you see. You just said the trucks can go anywhere, but now they can't. Yeah, because they're heavy. Weren't you listening? The trucks are heavy.
Then you're like, what? But this makes no sense. You know the Iranians have drones. They've had drones for like 10 years. You've also seen drones used in the Russia-Ukraine war to devastating effect.
And that was often not taking place under a Republican president. So what do you think? Do you think they just didn't think about this? Do you think they were just caught with their... Guys, these morons, they went to war with Iran, but they didn't think about the fact that their trucks can't move.
Why don't the Americans know this?
Basically what he's just...
They do. They do. That's why they had the foresight to put their missiles on trucks with wheels. Kyle's just going to eat this up because he's dumb. He's dumb.
describing is like, in the same way, if you read the history of the war in Vietnam and how we weren't really prepared for guerrilla warfare, right? It's this...
They were prepared for guerrilla warfare. What they weren't prepared to do, was hold on to a jungle forever, because you can't. Insurgencies don't just disappear, right? Like America's capable of fighting guerrilla fighters. They killed a lot of people in Vietnam. The issue isn't that they couldn't fight them.
Similar thing going on now, where this version of modern warfare, we're really not equipped for it.
But you are, though. You've got all that equipment. He showed it on the screen.
We throw all of our money at the military-industrial complex, and it's an endless money pit. And
It's an endless money pit? I thought the issue was that they were running out of money. Which is it? Are the missiles too expensive? Or is it an endless money pit? In the confusion, I'm losing track myself. The problem is they're touching on something true, but also wrong. Well, the problem is that, I mean, they're touching on something true in the sense that, like, people are reporting that there is a logistics problem here. They do not have the armaments prepared to intercept the amount of drones that Iran is putting out. But that's not about money. To say this about money is not just, like, wrong. It's completely, like... It's creating a false logistical analysis that people are now going to take with them. People are watching these videos more than they're reading articles that accurately explain the problems, and that then gets used by right-wing politicians to manipulate voters. And these people are doing this as left-wing content creators. That's why they didn't lose to the Taliban. America didn't lose to the Taliban. America left. The problem is that, like, America had no actual understanding of what they were doing. They had to network with local warlords in order to hold territory. And there was no political will for the kind of thing that you actually have to do if you want to quote-unquote nation build, which is you need to pour immense amounts of money to make the center of gravity positive economic engagement with a liberal system, instead of people being miserable enough and in constant danger so that they are being pulled into, like, other movements. No, you, Kyle is right wing. Kyle is promoting somebody who thinks Donald Trump is the second coming of Christ, Goddard. I don't think he thinks he's right wing. But you are what you eat. And you definitely are what you spread.
there's a lot of grift going on there.
The Taliban used guerrilla tactics to work. No, Goddard, they didn't win. Like, they could. The issue was not that the Taliban had strategic advantages. The issue is that the United States, like, was fundamentally, like, collectively like not there in what they were doing. That's wrong. Like, the issue is not that they used guerrilla tactics and it works, the United States had to pull out. The Taliban was forced to use guerrilla tactics and it survived the pullout. And the United States was not actually there for what it claimed to be there for. And so when enthusiasm for the war died, there was now a constant, like, the political value of Iraq and Afghanistan was to pull out. Like, that's not... I'm sorry, Goddard. Like, I don't think you're following what I'm saying here.
And we can't...
Yeah, exactly. They weren't committed to a long war and occupation. And nation building, quote unquote, building a society from scratch. Japan. Japan's an example of that. Of that being successful. Japan is an example of that. Different situation, of course. And significantly less... There's a different kind of animus. I shouldn't say there's less animus. It's a different kind of animus to the population of Japan than to the quote-unquote Muslim world, which has been the main villain in American propaganda for a very long time. Thank you, Rosa, for the 10 gifted memberships. I very much appreciate that. Thank you. And Germany. Germany is also a good example, yeah.
Now, for 63% of the Pentagon budget, they failed 8 audits in a row. Like, where's all that money going towards? Even when they do build the shit they're supposed to build.
It's going towards building the shit they're supposed to build. They're not. They shouldn't be supposed to be building that, though.
It's way too expensive, right?
No, it's not.
And they created an efficient machine where...
Yeah, but it's not too expensive.
Just one of those drones just hit the CIA headquarters in Saudi Arabia the other day. He said it could take out a desalination plant. It could take out oil fields. Qatar shut down all their liquid and natural gas production. You have hotels being hit. You have,
Oh, is that what he said? I missed the context for desalination. I was like, what are you talking about? I wasn't following. It seemed I thought he was talking about the effects of the missile. I was like, what?
U.S. military bases burnt to a motherfucking crisp all around the Middle East. So, like, they're being very efficient, and they can create those by the day, and they have 80,000 of them, and just a couple of them could do a tremendous amount of damage. And, like, we're running out of our interceptors, and they cost a shitload of money to build.
It's not because they cost money to build; it's because they take time to build.
And it's big and slow, and you need to...
They're not big and slow. They're actually very fast. They are missiles. The trucks, the issue is not the trucks. Reloading the trucks can be slow. The issue is not the trucks.
A couple of them, or maybe 3 of them, in order to take down one of these drones. Like, we drastically... The
trucks are on wheels. The trucks can drive. The trucks got there, okay? The trucks can get to where they need to go. The issue is not the trucks.
Regime and the Israelis drastically underestimated what the Iranians were capable of.
No, the military didn't. Donald Trump's government doesn't understand logistics because it's entirely comprised of it's entirely nepotistically constructed, and it's entirely staffed by people who are yes men to the president, who are like health gurus and media jockeys. Like, these are not people who know things.
And right now they're panicking and they're trying their best to, like...
They're not panicking. I don't. This cope is so weird. Like, they're not panicking. They are fiddling. They are crazy. They don't know anything. They're not panicking. People who actually know what they're talking about, who still exist in, like, military leadership, are like, hey, we are running out of these things. We need to do this thing that you thought was just an infinite resource. And the issue is not that, hey, we're running out of money. They're never going to run out of money. The issue is, hey, we are running out of missiles. Sunday, do you think Professor Zhang planned to get popular from the start on YouTube? I mean, obviously, that's why anybody does YouTube.
Not explain the extent of the damage. They're trying to censor, and we'll do a story on this tomorrow, but the Israelis are, like, trying to censor any information that's coming out about the damage being done to Tel Aviv and being done to Israel more broadly.
But they've always been doing that. That's not new.
And it's like, because they don't want the Iranians to know, yeah, this is actually...
No, they don't want Israelis to know that Israelis are getting hurt. That's why. It's not because of Iran. They don't care about Iran. What?
You're, like, fucking working. You're actually really delivering on a lot. And so, Absolutely crazy stuff. Go check out that interview that Professor Zhang did with Breaking Points, because it's a
No, they thought that Iran would fall with the killing of the Ayatollah. They thought their spirit would be broken. That's what they thought. They thought it would be like the emperor in Japan. Set foot on Japan, get the emperor, war over. That's what they thought it would be. This is a manufacturing and a shipping issue. This is not. Good God. It's so dumb.